welcome back to another episode of MJ's Progress Not Perfection. Today's guest is Janelle, and Janelle is celebrating 8 months sobriety today, and it's the longest she's ever gone in almost 20 years of either drinking or using. So, I mean, just that alone is a huge deal, at any point now, it's not an easy thing to go that long, with having alcohol in your life, and then to go 8 months through a lot of things, it's really impressive. She's doing a great job. She's working a program and had an incredible journey leading up to that, which we're going to get into
How
right
are
now.
you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's so hot out here today.
Yeah, I know. Do you go by Janelle or do you go by Jay?
All my friends call me Jay, but whatever works.
Okay. No, I wasn't sure. I saw the J obviously in your name, but then I
Yeah.
saw Janelle just now. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
that's cool.
Now, how much sobriety do you have now?
So the 22nd of this month will be 8 months.
8 months.
Yeah.
Now, is that the longest stretch of time you've gotten since like?
Yeah, I feel like the last time I had 8 months was when I was like 11. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I
Honestly, though.
that's actually that was my story too. When I hit 8 months for the first time, was
Yeah,
I had my first drink at 11. You know,
literally, I think me too. I was 11 years old. Yeah.
what was your first drink that you can remember?
A beer. It was a Budweiser.
Okay,
Yeah.
mine was
Yep.
Captain and Coke.
Oh, you went right in.
Yeah, I just dove in, full addict
Yeah.
mentality from the get
Oh yeah.
go.
From the jump.
Now, I didn't start like using alcohol to like medicate, so to say, until I was 12.
Okay.
So that's when, and it wasn't all the time. It was, let's be honest, like in my teens and adolescence, it was a lot of like partying for fun.
Mhm.
But there was a lot of nights where like I was angry about whatever happened at school that day, or how it is in adolescence, like you just get mad at
Yeah.
anything and you take yourself out with drinking. For me, so is
Oh
that
yeah.
like how it was for you when you started at 11?
Yeah, I would say so when I was at 11, I don't think like the anger like sunk in yet. I was more like partying. So I would say by 12, I started kind of like partying. I smoked like a joint at 12. Like I started kind of smoking weed, drinking, and it was like fun. When I was 12 though, like I grew up pretty fast. I was going to like college parties. So not college, high school. So my friend at the time where we like grew up, his older sister would have parties, and I remember I was like the drunkest one at the party. I was like 12 years old. That was like my first like experience of being like shit faced, and like I think I got kicked out of the party. Like it was so bad. And then it was just kind of like, yeah, I kind of feel like from the jump too, it was like all in. As soon as I started, really like going out and all that stuff, and I went out a lot. So yeah, I was smoking weed, drinking, 12 years old, going to parties. By 13, I had a boyfriend. It was my first love. And we used to drink a lot. We used to drink a lot together. We would get shit faced. And that's when like my parents kind of like caught on. And I came home so drunk one night and they were just like, what the fuck is going on? And I just remember they were like, oh God. And that was kind of like, it was kind of like on from there, just
What
parties, so young.
can I guess that he was an older guy?
No, he
He
was
was
my
your age?
age.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
But did was he able to get alcohol easily or something like that then? Did he have like an older
Yeah.
brother or older sister that he was able to like get it easily?
So he like, so he was
Because at like
from
13, I
Mexico.
had to like ask friends, who had older
Yeah.
siblings, because I was the oldest out of my family. So I had to ask
Yeah.
friends that had older siblings, or you had to wait outside the liquor store and pay somebody to go in for you. Find a homeless
Yeah.
dude, throw him $5.
Right.
At
Yeah,
13,
no,
that was the game
so
plan.
yeah, yeah, I know. I mean, I probably did that a couple of times, but I just remember he had people at his house a lot, like his cousins, like his uncles, his whole family like would drink, and it was like normal to have like a couple Coronas, like that was okay. And they had like, tequila in the house. That wasn't okay for us to drink, but we would sneak it, and it was like we would sneak the tequila, and that was just like the start of all of it. Yeah. So it was like always around.
That makes sense. I
Yeah.
mean, so if it was still like innocent fun though at that point, it was still just like, you thought you were supposed to be drinking. You're, in eighth grade, ninth grade, this is what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, yeah, but I still like every time I drank, I got blackout. So I think there was that kind of like subconscious, like, I mean, I think I was drinking to like blackout, but I didn't know it. When I was like really young, I had like a traumatic event happen, and it wasn't even until like later on, recently, that I was able to kind of like I like disassociated. So it was like PTSD. So I think that when that happened, like subconsciously, there were things that were kind of like making me want to, drink,
Escape.
and I didn't
Escape.
know why exactly.
Now,
Yeah.
and it's kind of unrelated, but I'm curious. Have you always lived around Boston? Because you don't have why did you lose some of your accent? Because I
You
lived
think? Oh my God, everyone
some of
says I
it.
have such a thick accent.
Maybe you're not nervous enough yet to where you're spilling the accent. Because you said
Yeah.
you said party fine. That was the thing is you
Party.
said party like 6 times, and it was
Ew.
you said
I
party.
said the R.
Yeah, you didn't say potty.
Then.
Yeah. And like I lived up there, so like I can like pick up when I hear it. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
living up there. You did say sister funny though, so if it makes you feel any better, when you said the word
Yeah.
sister, that's where I really heard it though. I
That's
wasn't
funny.
sure. Yeah, just from living up there because I lived in New
Yeah.
Bedford, I lived in Plymouth, I lived in Carver, I lived in
Oh
Middleborough.
wow.
I was all over
That's
the South
cool.
Shore. Yeah.
Did you grow up here?
No, no, I grew
Okay.
up right outside of Philly, and then I graduated high school, and then we moved up there as a family, and then I went to Quincy. And
Quincy.
I said it right. I said it right.
You did.
Yep. See, I know. I went to Quincy though. I went to their Plymouth. I went to the Plymouth one, the extension down there. But that was like 15 years ago when it was still like downtown Plymouth. Now it's like in a plaza and all that shit. But
Mhm.
yeah, I
Mhm.
loved it. Like when I was in New Bedford, I was in my active addiction. Like
Yeah.
I was not a good person when I was living in New Bedford, and I because I was into pills, and I realized real quickly that my neighbors sold them. I kept seeing
Oh
the same
God.
cars at the same time over and
Yeah.
over in our parking lot, and I was like, I know what's going on here. I
Oh
know.
yeah. I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't come for weed every day at 3 p.m., but you come for pills every day at 3 p.m. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I just started hanging out there when I knew he'd be out there smoking, and then start a conversation. You
Oh
know,
yeah. And they
it's
love that. They're just waiting.
yeah. Oh, more customers. Oh, and you don't have to drive here, so it's less shady. Awesome,
Yeah.
man.
Come on
Uh,
in. Yeah.
uh, so what did you get in? So now you're 13 and partying. Let's circle back to
Yeah.
that. You're 13 and partying.
Yeah.
When does it get like really out of hand for the first time? Is there any like I got alcohol poisoning at 16. Like,
Oh
did you have
shit.
any like crazy like shit that where you had to like maybe stop for a minute?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, I probably got alcohol poisoning countless times. I really don't even know. I never got hospitalized for that. But so I grew up in Everett, right? So grew up in Everett, had a ton of friends. Like I was a good kid. So when I was growing up in Everett, besides like the drinking and stuff, I like was on honor roll. Okay, I was on the honor roll. I literally never missed a day of like school. Like I played sports year round. Like my dad kind of had me in everything, and my mom too. You know what I mean? I was doing something all the time. So I didn't have a ton of time to really fuck up yet, So I was doing good. When I was 14, right before high school, they moved. So they were like, because I started getting in a little bit of trouble, and they were like, you know, it's probably best if we move, blah, blah, blah. So I moved like to the suburbs, right? And I'm like a city girl. So I moved to the suburbs to the start of high school. So now I'm in ninth grade. I'm in a new place, new people. It was like a very bad time to move. And that kid that I was dating, we broke up. And now, like, this is my first love, right? So it's like so dramatic, obviously. And, he cheated on me, right, too. So it's like I'm going through that. So I'm going through a breakup, my first love, being cheated on, all this stuff, and then this move. So I think that that was the reason why I just went off and running. So I go up there, And, I made friends with everybody, but I made friends with the kids who weren't doing the right thing because that's what I wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I made friends with them and started skipping school. Like right away, things took like a turn, and it was a dramatic turn because I was such like a good kid, and started skipping school, and my grades, please, like started flunking classes, not even like C's, D's, like just flunking, not going, flunking. That's when I started messing around with pills a little bit. So this is when things kind of like went up a notch. So I went through like
What
an
year?
ecstasy phase.
What year was this? I'm curious.
So
Like, how old are you
sophomore
now?
year, sophomore year was when it went to like the pills, and then junior year was like ecstasy days.
Because like pills in Massachusetts in like the mid 2000s were like everywhere.
Oxy.
Yeah,
Mhm. I didn't hit that oxy phase. I hit the perk 30 phase, but that was
me
like
too.
later on. Yeah.
2009 when
Yeah.
Oxy when the gel, and because that's when I started.
Mhm.
I'll be 35 in a couple weeks, and like
Okay.
I
Yeah,
I
I'm
got
30.
okay, yeah, so yeah, 2008 is when I got into Oxy 30, the Roxy code. We called them blues, we called them Johns, whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
but Roxy's blues, whatever you want to call them, those 30
Mhm.
milligram ones, they had me
Mhm.
for 9.5 years.
Oh, I love them. Those were
Yeah,
like my favorite. Never thought I'd go further than that, but yeah,
we'll
I
get there.
loved those.
So
Yeah, we'll
yeah,
get
so
there.
so yeah, so now you're a sophomore, which makes sense if you're 5 years
Mhm.
younger, is around the same time period of 2009 when
Mhm.
shit was really going. They were flooding Massachusetts.
Oh yeah.
Like there was a
Oh
whole
yeah.
documentary, Cape Cod Heroin USA, around that
Yeah.
time, like about that
Yeah.
shit.
Oh god,
Um,
it was starting to get crazy. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, so then you said you went from Roxy's to ecstasy.
Well, so the pills when I was sophomore, it was like anything I could get my hands on, right? Because now
Okay.
I'm like 15, right? And, stealing from our parents, like pill bottles and like, getting whatever we can. This was more like, I'd say Vicodin, you know, um, a Klonopin, like, here and there, like stupid stuff like that. But it wasn't like I wasn't like hooked yet. Like I was like still kind of like fun, but I did it whenever I got the chance. If the opportunity was there, I took it, right? So now I remember I started doing a little bit of blow here and there, sniffing it, but that was like still not like crazy. So then junior year happens, and now by this point it's like skipping school, like school's like not even a priority, you know what I mean? My parents are freaking out, they don't know what to do. It's like I took a real crazy turn.
Are you the
My
only
mom,
child, or
no, I have a little sister.
so you're the oldest then? You're the first, so they really didn't know what to.
Yeah.
It's not like
Oh
they
yeah.
had somebody else where they could say, "Well, it happened with the sister too."
Mhm.
So you're just
Yep.
like, and
Yeah.
where's your? So like my brother was doing everything the opposite of me because he's smart enough to know not to
Yeah.
follow, know what I was doing. Was
Yeah,
your sister
my
smart
sister's
enough?
a good kid. Yeah,
Okay,
she's a good
yeah,
kid. She's 7 years younger. So
okay,
she wasn't even like aware of what was going on. And even still, like me and her are really close now, but like I still haven't had that conversation like I was a heroin addict for like 2 years. Like we never said that. It's like an unsaid thing, but she knows that I'm an alcoholic, and that's what we can discuss. Like I've never drank with her, never nothing with her. It's like I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
I fucked up my whole life enough. Like I just can't even go there with her. So she wasn't aware enough of what was going on.
That's good.
And yeah, yeah, it is. I'm sure I'll tell her though. I like to like be honest and transparent.
Well, now she's like getting to that age. She's 23. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah,
I would say mid 20s is when like they're more like my sister's 9 years younger than me,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I was
Right.
31 when I went to rehab, and she knew I was having problems,
Mhm.
but I didn't. We didn't. She's like the baby. No one wanted to tell her
Yeah,
any bad news ever, and
exactly.
I remember out of everybody that I called and said I'm going to rehab, I got to go because I was making the choice to go on my own. Nobody was asking me, and so when
Same.
I called her, she started crying, and I was like, I'm sorry because I was gonna have to miss her college graduation while I would be in
Uh,
rehab, and I was like, I'm so sorry. Like I started crying obviously because I'm hurting my little sister, and then she was like, No, 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 I'm happy. Like I don't care about you not being here. Like go, like please, like I'm
that's
so happy.
awesome.
So like,
Yeah.
yeah, she was actually just more like happy and crying out of tears of joy than sadness, which I was relieved because we are close, you
Yeah.
know, even though. And as they get older, you get even closer because now she's
Exactly.
25 and
Mhm.
engaged and has a
Yep.
house and way better than me at
Aw.
25.
That's
Her
hilarious.
parents just got better and better as they went along with how to do
Yeah.
things. Like my brother's is really well, and then my sister does a home run.
I love it. Yeah, we paved the way, right?
Yeah, exactly. We make the mistakes so
We
they
made
don't
the
have to.
mistake for them.
Yeah. Okay. So now you're like getting into ecstasy, you're getting into pills, you're getting into coke a little bit. You're like into sniffing anything, obviously, because I
Oh
love
yeah,
sniffing. Yeah.
same, same.
So
That's my thing.
no rehabs yet though in high school.
No.
Your
So
parents don't.
I'm in high school and like parents are losing it. I'm messing around with ecstasy and that was like any oh God, it was so bad. And so at this point everything went downhill, right? So at this point my mom put me on chins. I
On
ran
what?
away from home,
She
chins,
put.
child in need of service. Yeah.
I never heard of that. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. So she did that. And yeah, I ran away, I came back and it was just kind of like a lot had happened, right? So from there, I got my GED and then I had like this like 2 year like period where like I kind of started to like as soon as I got out of high school and I got my GED, I was like, we got to figure something out. Like, I got to do something. So I went to the Salter School and got my paralegal certification. Once I did that, I started kind of getting back into like the groove, getting a little bit back to myself, started doing the right thing. I was working at a salon and I liked it. That was kind of like back on the right track. So when I was 21, I worked at a nightclub. I did VIP bottle service. I did this for years. And I worked in retail at a clothing store. And then I like opened a gym, right? So I'm like working all the time. So like Adderall, hi, like love Adderall, like all day, every day. But I'm still doing better. You know what I'm saying?
Prescribed
Now I can,
Adderall? Did you get your doctor to prescribe it? Okay, no, I wasn't sure.
no.
And were you sniffing
Birth,
Adderall or were you eating the Adderall?
both.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, I did get it prescribed. And then that ended really quickly because my mom told my doctor that I was like abusing it. So yeah. So that didn't last. Yeah. So that happened. So I'm doing a lot better. I'm feeling back to myself, looking back to myself, whatever. Still, messing around a little bit, but I love drinking. Like so, at this point, I wasn't really doing pills as much. I was really doing Adderall to just like work all the time, whatever. And I got a DUI. So this is my first DUI when I was 21.
So what what
And
what
it
were
was
you
bad.
doing that you got it? If it was what was going on that night? Can you walk me through a little bit of
Yeah.
that night? Okay.
Yeah. You know what's so crazy? This is out of all the nights that and this is horrible. I used to drive like drunk and it's so bad. And like, thank God I never like fucking hurt anybody or whatever. Like, thank God. But this night, I probably had like 3 shots and I was just in the zone. And me and my girlfriend were on the highway and I had a Mustang. So this is my first car. I had like a 2012 Mustang, right? And I was just whipping it. So I used to kind of like drag race here and there, and I don't know, I was just in that. And so I was speeding. So I was like, we had the music blaring, and I'm whipping, and she's like, show me like, what you do. Because I used to run like bike nights and all this stuff, whatever. So I was going fast. I was going probably like 110, 110, not, whatever. And I'm not even really that drunk. It was just for fun. And I get pulled over. So it was like driving with endangerment, DUI, blah, blah, blah. So this was like a big deal. It was not only like I lost my license, I had to pay like a lot of fucking money. Massachusetts is like, it's
Oh,
serious.
it is Taxachusetts is what my
Oh,
dad
yeah.
called it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and especially like with driving, there was so many extra fees for having a
Oh,
car.
yeah.
What was that one fee per year that like a recess fee or some kind of bullshit like fee that I had to pay every year to keep I can't remember it now. Excise tax.
Excise tax.
Yeah, like
Excise
what the
tax.
fuck? Like they find
Yeah.
a way to tax you for everything up there. I
Oh,
know
yeah.
that. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
I can't imagine like
Oh,
all the fines that they
yeah.
extra fine, like
Oh, it was so bad. Yeah, it was
ridiculous.
so bad.
Were you
And I
living at
actually
home?
got a lawyer. Yeah. And we got a lawyer. Good old dad. Love my dad. Oh, the poor thing. I owe my dad and my mom like $1 million. I can't even
Me
repay
too.
them back.
Me
For
too.
real, right? And we got a lawyer. We tried to fight it. I blew a .09. The limit was .08. Yeah, they weren't fucking around with me because I was going so fast. They were like, bitch, no. And yeah, that wasn't getting out of that. And yeah, so I ended up having to do the classes like 10 grand later, like, a lot of time. I had to do those like alcohol classes. This was like the first run that I had with this. And even then, I remember I was like, that was bad, but I still wasn't like, I'm an alcoholic. Like, I didn't think that at that point.
Did
I was
you
just,
have
I
to
fucked
do the
up.
meetings like for your
Yeah.
first DUI? You had to do like 30 and 30 or 90 and 90?
It wasn't the 90 and 90. It was like a program. So I would have to go, I don't even remember how many days a week. And they did like meetings in that program. It was like a 3-hour class a couple times a week. We'd do that. It was like discussion. It
It
was
wasn't
all that.
mandatory AA yet.
No, I think I
Okay.
had to do like one or two, which I did do, but that was it. Yeah.
You just sat
So,
there and looked at your phone and wait for the time to be over and then left.
yeah, pretty much. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'm not an alcoholic. I just
Yeah.
got caught doing something stupid.
Yeah.
And yeah. So after that, I still worked in the nightclub. I'm like, I'm working in the nightclub. You know what I'm saying? Like people are blowing lines at the table. Like it's it's just what it is. It was like normal. That was like my lifestyle. And yeah, that wasn't good to be around that all the time,
No.
for me at least. So it was like normal to like here and there, like, blow a couple lines and like, but still, like, I hadn't got to that point where like I was losing everything. Like the DUI was a big thing, but after that, like I wasn't really drinking and driving. I was drinking, but not
But
like driving.
you didn't
Yeah,
have a car.
exactly. So yeah. So from there, I got into this relationship, right? And I feel like this was like the second, not the second, maybe like the third traumatic thing that had happened in my life by that point. So I got in this domestic violent relationship. Never been in one before, never gonna fucking happen again, I'll tell you that. But yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. I don't even know. So that was bad. In that relationship, um, that like fucked me up. You know what I mean? Can I swear?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Um, yeah, that fucked me up. I got like so by this point, like I feel like PTSD like again. And then like I got out of that because the neighbors saw him like attacking me. I had blacked out at this point and they arrested him. So I was able to like get out of that situation. And like I never understood how like that could happen. I never understood how like someone could be in a situation like that and like stay in it, until it happened to me. And like it was just so mentally, it was just crazy. It was like I don't even know. It was just so bad. And I was able to get out of it. And when I did, I didn't realize how bad I was messed up from that. I didn't understand it. Like my friends and my family all knew. Like they were very supportive, you know what I mean? Like whatever, we were living together at the time. So I moved back home and, I started trying to get back on my feet. But like I kept like not being able to like hold a job and like it was just like I didn't feel like myself. And what I do is like if I go through something traumatic, like my response to like protect myself is to like block it out, like to block it out so I can like function. And later that doesn't work. That's like so bad. And so I blocked it out. And then he ended up like stalking me. So I had to get a restraining order. And it was just crazy. And that alone was like made me so paranoid, and like it just was the worst feeling. I can't even describe it. I always felt like I was like looking over my shoulder. Like I never felt safe. Like I feel like I lived in like fear, and like I didn't understand that at the time. So, you know, that's when I started. I want to say that was the start of the perks. I got really bad into drinking, like really bad. And it wasn't like for fun. Like this was like I had always like went out before. This was like I'm drinking at home. Like you know what I
Drinking
mean?
in
I'm
your
drinking
room.
alone.
Yeah.
Exactly. This was the first part of that. And then so it took me a while to kind of be okay after that. It took me a little bit. You know, I was still like here and there trying to work. I still had my friends, I still had my support, and I'm very lucky for that. And I've had like the people in my life who have been by my side, and I have a good group of the people, and I'm so lucky. But that was really hard. I think even to this day, I think that it's hard to even go there, you know, even like go deep there. You know, I can scratch the surface, but to go deep, I feel like, I don't know, I'll crumble. Like, I don't even
Yeah.
know.
There's no time limit on when you need to process it, as long as you know that it was there and, accept that you can't change it for now. And then as you get more comfortable in your sobriety, you can go back and revisit things, with a
Yeah.
mentor, a therapist, a
Hmm.
sponsor, all that
Yeah.
shit.
I have a
So,
sponsor now, and I'm on step 4.
oh shit.
So,
So you're
yeah.
on it. You're
Yeah,
right there.
yeah, I'm barely scratching the surface though. I've done 3 people because I still have that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I need like someone to like hold my hand through this because it's a
Well,
lot.
well, yeah. And step 4, for me, it was 75% of it was against myself,
Mm, mm,
resenting myself for things,
mm,
you
yeah,
know, and that was a big, like, eye opener. Like, oh yeah, like I can't blame anybody else. A lot of this I resent myself for. So like it was, I resent myself for that, resent myself, and I
yeah,
just and I
yeah,
thought that was a really relieving thing to do, was like
yeah,
find all the things that and it helped me also when I got to 9 and 8 and 9, because like I already
yeah,
had things, ready to go.
yeah,
So anyway, like, yeah, we don't have to get too much into that, but so now you're just drinking alone, drinking at home,
yeah,
and when you got back into pills, did the drinking
so
stop working?
yeah, so I got through that, right? So this was like a year, maybe even a year and a half. So at this point, I want to say maybe I'm like, I don't know, 24, whatever. And things are good again. Things are going good again. I got a good job. You know, I'm a manager for this counter at Nordstrom. You know, things are good. And this is like my life. Like, my mom's always like, you've been through so much, like so many ups and downs. So like extreme highs, extreme lows. Like I've had so many amazing, beautiful, happy times in my life, and like the lowest of the low too. Like I know both. You know what I mean? It's like a roller coaster. My life's been like a roller coaster ride. So things are good again. And I'm happy, you know, I got a new car, like, um, whatever, you know what I mean? I got a safe car. It's like a little Nissan Sentra, nothing I can whip around.
Nothing you can race.
Right. Yeah, I stopped that. Yeah, so things are going good again. And I actually started doing great at work. You know, I've been lucky to get really good job opportunities, and that's something, you know, that's definitely something I want to own my own business. So it's like I've gotten a lot of experience on the job because I don't have schooling experience. So I'm doing good, right? This guy comes in, and you know, he's charming, whatever. And I just remember at that point I was like so nervous to like date again because you know what happened, like the first love cheated, you know, that. But then, you know, in between that time, I've had like 2 really good relationships, really healthy relationships. So I know what that's like too, you know. So I was super nervous, but like there was something about him. And I got promoted to another location because I was doing so good. This location was closer to where this guy lived. I feel like we should have a name for him. I don't know if I want to say his actual name.
You can call whatever, because it's your story.
Yeah. Why don't we call him Teddy Bear? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
So you live now. You work close to Ted. Now you're work.
Yeah, Ted. Okay, we'll call him Ted. Um, and we're dating, and it's like amazing, and like everything was so good, and it was like he was such like a character, like he was just such a bright person, like we did so many fun things in such a short amount of time, like he was like open for anything, like it was just great. I was like, happy, like in a relationship, and it just was amazing, and we were really going to like a great place, and like, you know it was just awesome, and we were going to concerts, Six Flags. It was just amazing. We went up for his birthday and met his parents. It was like a big deal to him, that I met his family, so that was awesome. And I remember we had like made plans to go on like a helicopter tour, and at this point I had like maybe done Perk 30s a couple times. Me and him did it once together, and that was it. We didn't even really drink that much, here and there, like out to dinner and stuff, but like nothing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it was
Yeah, not
pretty
alcoholically.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like a normal person kind of. And we were gonna go on like a helicopter, like I don't even know, like a lesson, right? And it was like I'd left his house, and then it was like a day, and I heard from him, and then I didn't hear from him for like 2 days. So like my sister slept over on like a Thursday. I had talked to him on like Friday morning, and then I didn't hear from him, right? So like my friends at my house, and I remember this, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, like why? Like I was just so confused, you know what I mean? I'm like, is he like seeing someone else? Like I don't, like this is out of like nowhere, you know? And I get a call later that night, and it was from his sister. And she was like Ted Ted's passed away. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like what? And she's like, yeah, like he passed away. And I'm like, what, like in shock. And I'm like, how? Like what do you mean? And she was like, we don't know yet. Like, we don't know exactly what happened. Like, was he like doing anything? Like, and I'm like, no, like nothing. Not that I saw, not that I know. He had a heart attack. And that just killed me. And like,
Did he have a bad heart, or was it like was he older, or did he have like some kind of
no,
like disease thing where like he didn't know he had a disease? Like I've heard of people in their 20s having heart attacks, like my brother's friend did, and it just turned out he had a bad heart and no one knew.
yeah, no, he was like 35, 36. He was like taking this like medication for a long time, and I don't know. I think that that might have had something to do with it. I guess prior, after the fact, his parents like told me that he had struggled with coke, but I'd never seen that, so it just didn't make sense to me at all. Like what, one day he just decided to do it, and like I don't get it. I just didn't get it. And like I don't know, it's just so crazy, and I feel like that just like my life just like stopped. Like I don't know how to explain it. I
I
have
I mean,
I've Yeah.
I've lost a fiance to
Oh,
suicide, so like I get it. And like I know like that's sudden, because when it's sudden like that and you're not, because like suicide, yeah,
I'm
it's
so
one thing, but
sorry.
like, and she told me she was going to do it for a long time. She was sick, she was bipolar, schizophrenic, and alcoholic. But she always said she wanted to do it when she was 27, to be part of the 27 club with her heroes like Janis Joplin and all them. So I wasn't expecting it at 26, a few months shy of 27. It must have just got that bad in her head to just
Mhm.
do it, but
Mhm.
I didn't accept it then. I
Mhm.
nosedived deep into drinking even more,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know. So
That was,
like
yeah.
I didn't know how to process. Like I said early,
Mhm.
my grief was my thing. I didn't know how to process grief still, and at 27, 28, when that happened, it was just like, well, I guess I'm going to be drinking a lot, doing a lot of whatever I can get my hands on, but it was mostly drinking.
Mhm. Yep. Yep. I know exactly what you mean. When that happened, that was the start of like the opiate, like the like bad. Like so when that happened, I was like I don't know, frozen or something for like weeks, like 3 weeks. I was like in like shock. Like my family and my friends stayed with me every day for 3 weeks. And then everyone had to get back to their lives. You know what I mean? And I lived with a roommate at that time. Um, so I was kind of like living alone. Like he was a friend, you know what I'm saying? But like we never really saw each other, and it was like a big place. So we really didn't run into each other that much. So it was like as soon as I was like alone, I just was so lost. And like I kept trying to like make sense of it, but like I couldn't, and like that's what bothered me so much. So I started doing perk 30s. Now this was like a thing. This was like becoming almost like a daily thing, like by myself, like depressed as fuck, like, or whatever. And I had to move back home because I couldn't afford my rent. And then I couldn't really function at this point for a while, months, I'd say. So I was in this deep, dark depression. I would say 6 months of like just completely lost, completely lost.
Did you have money
Uh,
saved? No, I mean, because like pills are, like, and how, like, did you have just a friend?
oh, I know what you're saying.
Like, if you're doing pills every day, you're not working
Yeah,
because you're like, or were you
yeah.
making money?
So I did have like a little money at that time, but that like ran out really quickly. So like I was getting money like from my parents, and then like I sold stuff. So I started selling stuff and sold like a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, the money ran out, and then I had a couple friends who would front me money, what everyone like knew what had happened to me, you know what I mean? So they were like helping me out. Yeah, yeah. And then so like I'd say like 6 months went by, and then like everyone like my parents especially, all I don't want, not like an intervention, because like it wasn't even so much about the drugs, because they didn't really know how bad it was. Like they knew about the depression of like you need to start living, because like you're like not living at all, like, and it was like he would like they were like he wouldn't want you to like not live your life, he'd want you to be happy, like live for him, right? And it was like it took me a little bit to understand this. So then I started like, even though I was still doing perks, I started getting like spiritual. So this is like my big kind of like breakthrough with this. And this was like my real like seeking of God, because like I had never really been, I grew up Catholic. That never really resonated with me.
So did I. I grew up Catholic too, and in the early 2000s, when all the stories started coming out of your area, actually first,
Mm-hmm.
the Globe
Oh,
broke the news first, and so once that started coming out, I'm like, yep, this is making it a lot easier for me to pull away.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
I get it.
So yeah, it just didn't resonate. So that too, my higher power, I was always like a little lost with that, which is like, it all comes into play. Uh, so I started like being spiritual, whatever. And I started getting crystals and essential oils and just anything that I thought would make me feel better besides like medication. And like, it still kept me in this state of just like zombied out. Like, I'm like doing perks all the time. And it's like, it's barely helping, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So I started
yeah,
doing this. I started doing yoga, and all of a sudden, I made this decision that I was going to fly to Bali, Indonesia for a month by myself and get my yoga certification because I needed something to like slap me back into life. Like I need stuff like that. When I go like going through such crazy things, I need something as dramatic in a good way to get me back. Do you know what I mean? That's the
Makes
highs and
so.
lows.
Yep.
The highs and lows. So that happened. So the school is based out of New Hampshire. So they did retreats, right? So they were doing a retreat in Bali, and I was still doing perks, not consistently, like not like 5 a day, but I was doing them like one a day, one perk 30 a day.
Did you
Now,
bring them with you?
no, this is crazy. Wait until you hear this. So I had one in my bag, right? Now, I had been smoking cigarettes, okay? So I'm addicted to nicotine. I wasn't really drinking that much because Perk 30s was like my love,
I
and I'm
yeah.
addicted to Perk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally always say that 30s were my first love.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were the ones like when and I stuck with them to like obviously the entire time because I loved the effects that I got from it. I love sniffing them. I love breaking them. I just got a new medication because I have this like thing with my nerve with my stomach, and I kind of hate the fact that they're blue and circular. They're
Oh, yeah.
small and blue, and I
Trigger.
would, yeah, like my blood
Yeah.
pressure medicine, it has a V on it. It's the same exact V. It's made by the same company, and like I
Oh my
can't even
gosh,
look at the
trigger.
medicine. I gotta take it out and just swallow it.
Yeah. Oh my God,
Because
I
like
totally get it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's only the ones that like love 30s the way I did. Like, cause like were you the kind of person like when you found out that your person was good, would you then ask what kind they had?
Oh, of course.
Because
Of
the
course.
V's would make
Oh,
me
yeah.
break out. I would always break out and get all
Really?
blotchy from the
I
V's.
hate
So
the
like
M's.
really they were my
I didn't
preference.
like the M's. See, they
M
weren't good around here.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Okay. And the
No.
A215s were the most consistent. The A's, they were the ones they were like, you're gonna
Yes.
get something good. Like if someone
Yep.
said A's, you're like, all right.
Yeah.
A's are like the
The V's were
K9s,
good around here. The
but
V's were
no,
good around
V's would always make me break out. And like I was doctor shopping, so like I knew which pharmacy to go to. You know what I
here.
mean? Like I knew Walmart had the M's at one point, and then I knew they switched,
Yeah.
and like somebody else, and I knew CVS had the V's, and I would try to
Yeah.
avoid going to CVS if I could. You
You hated
know,
the V's. That's a
it,
riot.
it's
Yeah.
only
Things
because
we
I would
do.
break out. My face would get all blotchy, and like I would feel like everyone knows. So the other ones I could conceal a lot better. I always got in
Right.
trouble because of Xanax. Xanax would always get me in trouble, but I would
Mm.
always I obsessed over the Roxys for 10
Oh
years.
yeah. Oh yeah. Obsessed.
So,
Obsessed.
okay, tell me how you got
Yeah.
them in Indonesia because like I know how I got them in North Carolina was definitely by the mail. Like I was
Yeah.
definitely just like sitting waiting for my U.S. post office worker
Yeah.
every time I knew that it was like day of. I'd be like in my
Yeah.
car waiting to
Can't
like
even do
stalk them.
anything until you get that. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
working from my phone. Like I was supposed to go on jobs, like I was doing plumbing kind of stuff, and I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
I'm running a little late, like just waiting for the
Oh yeah.
mailman because I wasn't even withdrawing, but I
Oh yeah.
was because I knew they were on the way.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
I totally get it.
so
So
you
this is
brought one, yeah,
insane. I
okay.
brought one on the plane, right? It's insane. Now, the laws in Indonesia are very, very serious. If you get caught with weed over there, you like go to jail. Like it's like no joke, right? So I'm flying, it's a 2 day flight because I got like the cheapest flight, right? So I had like a bunch of stops. It's a 2 day flight. I'm withdrawing so bad off perks and nicotine. I like wanted to like die. And the only thing that like seriously I feel like got me through was when I landed in Indonesia, I met another girl from America. There was like three girls from America that were going, and then everyone else was from other countries. It was so fucking cool. And I met her in the airport, and we took a cab together to like, we stayed in villas. So it was like a whole thing, because we were there for like a month. And once I finally was in Indonesia, I like had that feeling that like I knew I was supposed to be here. Like I had never left the country before. This is my first time leaving the country and I'm by myself, you know what I mean? And I just knew like I'm here, like I can do this. Like I have to do this because I have to heal from what happened. Because if I don't know what I'm gonna do, you know? And so I'm there. And now this whole time that I'm in Indonesia doing yoga, and I mean, it's from 6 in the morning to like 8 at night. Like, no joke, like classes, like all the stuff you had to pass the test, like everything. And I'm getting my certification. I was withdrawing really bad for, I'd say, like the first week. That and jet lag. Like, I was just like, I don't even know how I
I
was
can't
doing
even
it.
imagine. Yeah.
I can't even tell you. It was like this, like something like took over, and I was like on autopilot, and I was just like, I have to do this. I'm here. I paid a lot of money,
So at
and I
least you were doing
did.
yoga. At least you were that gets. I remember when I
Hmm.
was in rehab,
Yeah.
I like played basketball a lot, and that helped me because I was refusing Suboxone in rehab.
Hmm.
Because I didn't want to have one more thing to get off of. I just wanted, and
Hmm.
I didn't want it to be comfortable. It's my only time in rehab, so like I
Hmm.
didn't want to come back.
Hmm.
So like I just played basketball a lot, and being that active, I think helped me keep sweating things out
Hmm.
constantly and
Hmm.
all that. I'm sure you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was like 95 degrees in Bali. And it's like the most gorgeous place ever, right? It's a third world country, but it's so beautiful. And the people there speak like broken English. It was just amazing. Like, it was just, I can't even begin to describe you. The meditation, the everything that we did, like my goal there was to let go of that like deep pain. And like we did so many different like mystical, like beautiful, magical things that like I really feel like I was able to like not not I don't not like deal with it, not like get through it, but I was able to like make peace with it and like be able to continue on, and I had done it, right? So this was like insane. So it was like one of the best experiences of my life. And I come back, I almost stayed, but I came back and I was home for maybe 10 days. And I hung out with someone who did blues and I got it. And just like that, after all of that, right back on it. So at this point, like it was like, I need fucking help. So I got on maintenance and I
The
was on
Suboxone.
that. Yeah. And that helped. And then again, I got a good job. Like I'm managing like a massage place. Like I'm doing great again, this and that, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I want to say I got a job opportunity for like way more pay, right? And throughout this point, I think I had like another like relationship. It was a really good relationship. He was like in a heavy metal band. He was a great guy, like, but I was drinking, so I ruined it. So I ruined that because of my drinking. So throughout this time, I've still like stayed drinking. And like the most shitty things that I've probably ever done is when I'm drinking. Not when I'm like using like blues or like etc. It's when I'm drinking. So I ruined that relationship. He was a really good guy. If he sees this, he's gonna know that he's a good one. I hope the best. I hope the best for all the people that I've dated. But that is something that I struggle with is relationships and finding a healthy relationship because of what happened when I was younger. So that's like now I know that. So I get this new job opportunity, and then this is kind of where it leads into this. So I met this guy, and I'm still dealing with that. I'm still dealing with what happened with this situation. Something happened with this guy, and it was just brutal. And I sold my car. I got a place in the city, like in like 2 months, because like I just had to get out of that like situation. I sold my car, moved to the city, I had this great fucking job. Like everything was awesome. Like, but I'm still doing Adderall and I'm still drinking. So I get to this place, I like manifested like everything that I wanted, and I'm sitting with self and I'm like, fuck, I'm in a lot of pain, like emotionally, like shit. And I'm like, okay, I don't have time to deal with this. So I'm just gonna drink and I'm just gonna take Adderall and I'm gonna go to work and I'm gonna be a robot basically and not feel my emotions. So that lasted for a couple months and then it got so bad. This was when it got so bad my drinking that like I wasn't able to function. I couldn't hold food down. It was the worst I've ever been like physically. I've never been that sick physically from alcohol. It was really, really bad.
Is that
Couldn't
picture you sent? The picture
no.
you posted? No,
That's
we'll
when
get
I was,
there.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So it was bad with the drinking. So I go to treatment for the first time. So this is 2 years ago. I go to treatment for the first time. I did the whole 30 days, bada, 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 whatever. I get out. I go right back in the same situation. I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody in AA. I don't know anybody in NA. I don't know anybody really sober, to be honest, because that wasn't what I was around, you know?
Yeah.
After like 4 days, I relapse on drinking. I go back to treatment, right? So this was 2 years ago. This was 2 years ago. I was in and out of treatment 13 times. Yeah. So I go back to treatment. I meet a guy. This guy liked heroin. So I think it's a good idea to bring him home with me and to move him to my townhouse that I have. I'm like, yeah, come on, why not? Because I'm like hating life right now, you know what I'm saying? Which hating that situation and what happened, I feel like internally not dealing with it made me like hate myself because I was just holding on to that. So I'm like, yeah, this is great. I deserve this. So I bring him home with me and drinking right away. The day we got out. Um, Mind you, we both got kicked out for this relationship. So that's the
Yeah,
start of my relationship.
I was gonna say, yeah. Usually, when two people in rehab start like fucking at rehab, they're usually asked to leave.
Yeah. Well, we didn't do that, but we kissed, and we were like very visibly like passing notes, and like we
Yeah,
just did
yeah,
it.
that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I was like, not yet. No, yeah, no, for real. It was just crazy. Yeah, they were like, get out. And like, for anyone watching, don't do that. Just don't meet a guy in treatment or a girl, whatever your preference. Don't do it. Don't. Um, so he comes back. We start drinking right away. It took about 2.5 months for me to try dope. I had tried dope one other time before that, and I was like, this is not for me. I have lost so many friends to dope, close, close, close friends, and I said I'd never do it. And this guy, I don't know, I was just like, let's do it. And it was like once a week on the weekends. Cause like who does like, would do dope on the weekends? Like, yeah, that's normal. Turning to every day, obviously. You know how that goes. So as soon as I started doing it, I was like, I knew that I had to stop. Like I knew I shouldn't be doing it. I knew it, but like I like had just touched the surface of it. Now he had been a heroin addict for years. So he was able to like ration and like save some for the morning. And like I wasn't. You know what I'm saying? And I sniffed it. He didn't. He did, you know, the other way. So
yeah,
I'm buying double. It's gone quicker. It caused a lot of fights, and it was just not healthy at
yeah. Because
all.
you would probably say, I need some, and I know
Mhm.
you have some, and he would say, well, this is for the morning because I'm gonna need it in the morning because I know
Mhm.
my body. And you're like, too bad,
Mhm.
we can figure it out in the morning. I need it now, and
Mhm.
I can already hear
Mhm.
the fight because like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. You already know.
yep,
So that was bad. So this is when I started doing heroin and it got really bad and like real quick I started losing stuff. Like really quickly. Now I know people who are like, yeah, I did heroin for 10 years. Like, no, like real quick things started getting taken. So I got another DUI. I'm fighting that right now. So I'm still in the process of that. That sucks.
when was that
uh
one?
that was right as soon as we started doing dope. So that was 2 years ago. It was in March, April, March or April.
So April
Um,
2019.
mhm, mhm.
And can you like were you had just sniffed some dope and then you got in the car and started driving?
I was
Or
way more drunk.
oh, okay, so the
Yeah.
cops didn't even pick up the dope. Like they went, oh, she's drinking.
Oh,
So
right for. Oh, I was so drunk. Oh my God. I started fighting with him, because that's what I do when I'm drunk, and it's so ugly, so ugly. So that happened, right? So license gone, and he didn't have a license, so that was great. So it was just so
well, at
bad.
least you're in the city. Like I
Yeah.
was telling somebody who we're in PA, and her boyfriend were looking to move, and I recommended Boston as a place to go because she doesn't like to drive. I
Mhm.
said, it's one of the cleanest cities I've ever been to,
Yeah.
and the T is one of the best transportations,
Yeah.
like for being able to get from one side of the city to the other pretty
Yeah.
easily. You know,
Absolutely.
it's good. It's a good
Yeah.
walking city and a good city for transportation too. And they're
Yeah.
moving up there in a couple months now. So
Yeah.
because they visited and they loved it and they're like, "Yep, we're gonna
Yeah.
do it." So I'm like,
Yeah.
"Awesome."
Yeah. Hell
so
yeah.
so at least you
Boston's
have that.
dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boston's dope. So we did have the public transportation, thank God. And yeah, it got crazy. So we were in and out, in and out. Now I started doing like the spin, so like the spin drive. So I would go in for like 3 days, you know what I mean? And then as soon as like the emotions, like I would get through the physical, right? But as soon as that emotional piece started coming into play, right back out. Like I remember we went together one time, I left. Like I was like, I can't do this. Like I just was so codependent. Now I'm not like a codependent woman. Okay. Like I've been through a lot of shit. Like I usually am pretty independent, stand on my own. I usually make my own money. I when I'm not drinking, very nice, kind person, and I respect people and I don't tolerate disrespect when I got my shit together, right? At this point, I did not have my shit together. So I was like, yeah, like it was just so bad. I didn't care, at all. Um, so it got to a point with that I couldn't stay sober with him around. I knew that with him around, there was no chance. There was no chance. And I was like actually in love with the kid, which was even worse. Like, and I don't wish anything bad for him, whatever. I really do hope the best for him. But it was just bad, we were toxic. So I finally got him to leave. Now, for 3 months probably I was still using. I still had that hold on me, but it wasn't like I was like able to. It wasn't as bad for some reason. Like I don't know how to explain it, but I'm in the townhouse and I'm using, and I have a roommate, mind you, similar to that place I had before. She's a nurse. The poor girl. She didn't even drink. God, I don't even. She had to have known something was going on, but like, oh, so bad. Um, so finally, it gets to a point again, no money, no job again, no money, no job, no license, no car, you know, no nothing. So finally, I couldn't pay rent anymore. So in and out, in and out. I knew I always had that place to go back to. So it wasn't until that I lost it, and this was in October of 2019, that I finally stayed in treatment. Yeah, I feel like the timing's off. So that was that 2021. Yeah. So I stayed in treatment. I did like almost 6 months. Almost. This was the first time. And I spent every holiday in treatment. And I'd never done that before. And I was a baby. And I was like, this sucks. And then it was my birthday. And I relapsed. I had made it to a halfway house. I had never done that. I went to like a TSS, made it to a halfway house. Right away, I relapsed.
What did you relapse with drinking again?
Dope. Yeah.
You went right
Yeah.
for it this time.
Oh yeah. But I was like messing around, like I was like taking an extra Wellbutrin here and there, like when I was in detox, like it was little things like that that led up to that, and I didn't realize it at the time. You know what I mean? Um, so then I went on like a little run ski for like a month, and then back in, and now this is that time. So I went on a little run, I went back in, I went to treatment. Uh,
Well,
they're
so you
so
you went on
good.
this. When was that picture from? Because I'm gonna pull it up.
Yeah. So that was when I was with that guy. So when we were doing dope. And that was right before I went into that like 6 month treatment.
Okay, and
Yeah.
then right before you went into treatment again, if my math
Mhm.
is right, back in like January of 2021,
Yeah.
and because you relapsed in like April of 2020, and then you went on a run for like six
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
Okay,
And now this is that time in between. This is that second part of that where it's almost 8 months. So it's
yeah,
if I didn't have that little, like, it would have been a long time.
Yeah.
So,
So now, what do you think is more different this time than the 6 months last time? You're in a sober living now,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
made it through a
yeah,
couple of days, obviously, without. Okay.
yeah.
I could tell
So,
just from your Facebook story earlier that looked like a total like I lived in a sober living. I know what a sober living house when I
yeah,
see
yeah,
it.
yeah. I made it past the halfway onto the sober living, so trucking on. What's different, I would say, is I didn't abuse anything. Like, I didn't even slip an extra Wellbutrin. I didn't, take like a gabapentin. Like, I didn't do anything like that that could potentially set something off in here, because it takes just that to set that off in me. And now I see that. So I didn't do that. And almost making it last time through every holiday, and almost having that. And I was so close and relapsing, and just how that felt. Like, I was like so hopeful. I knew that I could get there. So, like, right now, I didn't have a sponsor then. So I have a sponsor now. So that's different. I'm working the steps. That's different. I'm actually going to meetings. That's different. I'm making a network. That's different. It's a lot of it's different.
You
And I'm
enjoying the
trying to do everything
meetings?
different. Yeah, yeah. They're very helpful for me. For me personally, like, I need that, like, camaraderie, because when I, like, go down, like, I'm like, yeah, like, I'm not the type to be like, come with me, like, let me drag you down with me. I'm the type that's like, I'll suffer alone. Like, I don't know why I'm like that, but I am. And then that's so bad, because then I don't reach out for help, and I'm like cut off from everybody, you know? So this time I'm like, hello, I'm
Yeah.
here, like, be
Yeah.
my friend, like, help me. And like what I did the other day, how this is even happening, making that post is very, very weird for me. Even me talking about, like, shit I've been through, and like even me talking about me doing dope, like, that's not something I'm like super open about. I am in my group and my network and everything like that, but, you know with my sister, with, some of my family members and some other people that I know, I don't say I was like a dope, you know what I mean? I wasn't a heroin addict. Like, I don't say that. I say I was an alcoholic. So it was a big thing for me to, like, make that post and, like, put myself out there. And even talking like this is, like, huge for me, because I feel like I need to not have anything that I feel ashamed of,
Exactly.
because that's gonna eat me up. Yeah,
It
yeah,
when you tell your story, the more you tell it, you know what I mean, because you're gonna get more comfortable even after today, and the more you do tell it, and the more you realize that people's reactions aren't like disgusted when you're talking, because that's a lot of the reasons why I had insecurities about telling my story all the
mhm,
time was like you're gonna look at me like I'm an asshole because I am,
mhm,
and I don't want to get those
mhm,
looks. But as
mhm.
soon as you get used to actually like the laughter and the embracing, because the laughter is a good thing. When
Yeah,
people are laughing at your story, it's because they're relating, not
yeah.
because they're making fun of you.
Right,
And no,
right.
that's an important thing, like to know, because like I laugh at the ridiculousness now
Yeah,
because that's all
I
you
like
can
that.
do, you know.
Exactly. I need that.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and it's our Northeast attitude of like just like you have to laugh at your
Yeah,
pain.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
already assholes. Everyone knows Northeast people are assholes to begin with. So you
Yeah,
have to be able to laugh at that shit, or else you're never going to be comfortable with it. And the more you
100%.
talk about it, the more real it is, and the more it's not eating you up because you're taking ownership and control in that
Yeah,
story. That's
exactly.
your narrative, not something
Yeah,
that you're hiding now.
yeah. I've never told my story ever. So I haven't done that yet. And, like, even today, like, I didn't know, like, you know what I mean? But I've never, like, done that whole thing to someone who isn't someone who's close to me. You know what I mean? I've done a commitment once, and I shared for like 10 minutes because there was like five of us, and I was like freaking out, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna say? But that was the most I've ever done. So hopefully my story made like sense, you know?
No, it definitely made sense. I mean, we even went in order, and a lot of the times, like, I'm skipping around.
Oh yeah,
So
me too.
yeah,
I'm ADD, so
yeah, but we were able to stay on topic, and I
yeah.
see you're still into using crystals because you said you're spiritual,
Oh
and you use
yeah,
crystals because like you have the same thing my wife has, the necklace.
yeah,
That
yeah.
my wife has the same kind of necklace with the crystals on it and all that kind of
And
yeah.
the rings. This is
Okay.
amethyst. This is rose quartz. This
Hmm.
is selenite. I'm gonna flip real quick just so you can
Okay.
see where I'm actually talking. Hold on. Should I just?
Do you have
There you
like an
go.
altar?
Yes, I'm literally at
Yeah, I knew it.
it. So I got the candle. Elephant's my spirit animal. Can you see?
No, flip it around.
Okay.
Oh yeah, okay.
So
Yep.
crystals. I got candles. Elephant. That's my spirit animal. I have tarot cards. Yeah.
My she has a whole altar set up. Like this is my
Yeah.
office, and we have a meeting center, right? We do meetings out of here 4 times a day,
So
for mental health. And so I have my office, which is where I do my podcast out of.
yeah.
She's gonna be starting her podcast soon, actually, where she's gonna be doing tarot readings and shit, and
Really?
doing
Oh,
like
that's so
tarot
cool.
readings and talking mental health and all that kind of stuff. And like
That's
she
awesome.
uses the Light Seer, I guess edition, and
That's
but she does, I don't know, it's a really cool art on there. I don't know shit
that's
about it,
so
but she
cool.
has all of her crystals and like a pendulum and all that kind of shit and the
My
whole like
type of girl. You should tell
witchcraft.
her to text
Oh
me.
yeah,
Yeah.
she'll be excited when I tell her that like I talked to you about like all that stuff. I'll
Hello,
s-
witch. For the
yeah,
good witches.
that's what she tells our son. He gets all like, "You're a witch, mama," because I always say, "Yeah,
But
mama's a
like
witch."
Glinda.
Yeah,
Glinda the good witch. Yeah.
she always says, "No, but I'm one of
Yeah.
the good witches." Like, and she does the
Yeah.
spells for people. Like, she does protection spells for people
Yeah.
that like have had trauma,
Yeah.
and they'll sit down
Cool.
and she'll do the whole protection thing and have them
That's
set up.
awesome.
And
That's
yeah,
so cool.
yeah. So like we
It
are
helps
definitely,
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
She runs
Probably helps me.
a morning meditation every day here at 10:15, except for Sundays, but 6 days a week.
Cool.
And she's got MS. Now she just got diagnosed
Mm-hmm.
last month, and she just got 18 months sober last month too.
Hell yeah.
So, but she is all into doing like, the protections and the spells and the tarot and meditations and the
Yes.
sage.
That's my higher power.
Okay. What
You
is
know,
the crystals and
like
stuff? That
like
energy?
being like spiritual. So I wouldn't say that I'm like religious. I believe that everyone's version of a higher power is right. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that there's like one that's like, but like I believe in more of like the universe and like karma and like, like just trying to practice like love and
Law of
like that's
attraction.
love. Yeah, law of attraction. Like love is my higher power, you
Yeah.
know?
I don't know if you ever heard this in a meeting yet, but you can use it. I heard it early on, and it really helped me because we're Catholic and both went
Yeah,
away.
yeah.
And I was having a lot of trouble with my step 3 with let go, let God, because I didn't want to say let God. And they were like, somebody said early on, like, religion's for people who fear hell and spirituality for people who've been to hell.
Mm. Yeah, I love that.
And that made a
That's
lot of sense.
true.
So
Yes.
yeah, you feel free to use that one as like, that's my go-to whenever somebody calls
Love
me out
that.
for like, what do you mean you're not religious but you're spiritual? That's what I say.
I
That's my
love
go-to, is
that.
the easiest way to break that down
Yes,
for people that have no idea what we're talking
feeling
about.
that. I love
Um,
it.
Thank you so much for like taking the time to like be so open about your
Yeah.
story, because I know it's not easy, and I know
Yeah.
especially the first time, and like we're strangers, but
Yeah.
that doesn't matter. Like I said, it would be just having a conversation like we would at a meeting.
Yeah.
So like I'm
I
glad
know.
that
Thank you so much. You totally got me to like open up and like out of my comfort zone. I'm so happy you did. Seriously. And now
good.
we're friends.
Exactly. And I'll
Yeah.
when I post it, do you want me to avoid tagging you or tag you? Because some people don't want to be tagged. Like when I post it on Facebook.
You can tag me.
Okay.
Why not?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure if you wanted to like
Yeah.
share it on your page, this way your
Yeah.
friends see that it's even a thing and they can click on
Yeah.
the YouTube link and watch, and they can
Yeah.
hear your story in a way that's more like from you, but you don't have the pressure of trying to tell it to them,
Yes. I
you
like
know?
that. Yeah,
So
I'm
that's
growing. Let's do it.
yeah, you're doing awesome. Like,
Yeah.
when's 8 months again?
The 22nd.
The 22nd. What's today?
Yeah.
Um, if you want, I have enough episodes backlogged. I can hold this and release it on your 8 month anniversary on the 22nd.
Hmm.
So you can celebrate your 8 months by putting this out
Wow.
if
That's
you
a
want to do
really
that.
cool idea. Yeah.
Okay, because I'm putting my story out on my birthday on the 29th.
I love
So
it.
that's when I'm going to release my episode.
Yeah.
So if you want, I can hold it for a week and then put it out on your, sober anniversary. This way you can kind of
That's
like, it's
awesome.
8 months and check out what I did for 8 months.
Yes, I love that. That's such a good idea.
Yep. Awesome.
Hell
Awesome. I
yeah.
am so happy. I am so proud. Keep it up. Keep
Thank
talking to your
you.
sponsor. Keep talking to people. Your story will resonate with people. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people that are going to relate. Obviously, how much should we relate? You know,
Right? I know.
with ages, drinking, pills, you are not
Religion.
alone. And yeah, religion, especially that, there's a lot of people that are going to resonate. So they should hear it because they're going to say, okay, I can get myself out of this eventually. We figure this shit out when we figure it out. There's no timetables. There's no race.
Yeah.
So keep doing it. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. And I will hit
Thanks,
you up when it
man.
gets closer to.
Sounds
Thank you.
good.
Have a
Thank
good day.
you.
All
You
right. See you.
too.
Bye.
Bye.